Hi, all of you. Is my sound is audible? Okay, so in the last class, we saw about the VPC. Today, we are going to create that entire VPC setup using the Terraform. Okay, so for that, we'll be creating a new directory with the name called VPC. Okay, inside this VPC directory only, we are going to create all the files, everything. And you know that always we are going to start with the file called provider.tf file. Okay, and inside this particular file will tell how to connect to the AWS cloud. Okay, in which will mention the reason name and then whatever the credential they will be using with the profile method. Okay, so once we return this provider.tf file, you can simply save this file using control+s. Okay, after that we'll be creating some variable file here. Okay, so we'll be creating a separate file with the name called variable.tf file. What are the things we are going to write inside this variable file that you will come to know. Okay, so first let me just create a file with the name called variable.tf. So see, it is not like one time you are writing the code, so that's all, it's completed, right? Because maybe tomorrow again you want to create another VPC, right? After 1 month again you want to create another VPC. Okay, so currently today I want to create the VPC in the Mumbai region. So maybe I can just hard code my value like AP South 1, right? But tomorrow my another team want to create a VPC and they want to create the VPC in the US region, right? So in that case, they have to write US hyphen east hyphen one like that way. Okay. So rather than hard coding the value, what I can say is that particular VPC, if they will require the reason to start, then I will say that, okay, read the reason from this variable called AWS underscore reason. And for now, value is AP South 1, right? Tomorrow, when other people will work, they will just come to this variable.tf file. They will change this AP South 1 to some another value, right? And all the other code file we are going to write there, they don't have to do the change. They have to do the change in the variable.tf file on. That's why we write like this. Whatever the CIDR block I want to write, okay, whatever the subnet I want to write, I can just decide it from here only. Okay, if somebody want to give some different subnet, they will just come here, they will do the changes at this position like this. I want to create two subnets, that's why I given two range here. Okay, 10.0.1.0/24 and /24. These are all things we discussed in the last class. And then similarly, one of the subnet I want to create in 1A availability zone, one I want to create in 1B. Like this way I want to create, so I can just write it in the variable.tf file. Once this is done, simply you can save this file. Okay, and after this, then we'll be creating the main file, that is the vpc.tf file. Okay, which will help us to create the VPC resource. Okay, so this file is little bit big, so let me first copy it, then I will explain you what is the meaning of this. So vpc.tf file. So just give me a second, let me just copy paste the entire thing. Okay, so this is the code basically. Okay, so the first line, if you'll try to understand here, what is the first block? So as the name said, the first block want to create the VPC. Okay, from where we are taking this code, everything. So you can simply search for Terraform, AWS docs like this, right? When you will search about this, you will come to this particular page. They will provide you all the code, right? And from here, if I want to find the code for the service called VPC, we can just find it. So let it be open. What happened? Here, if you'll see about something called VPC, right? So we are basically taking the code from that particular thing only. So we'll just see if anything they written how to create the VPC. So here they have for VPC. In the VPC, you want to create the VPC, right? So we'll see that anything written they around that how to create the VPC. So this is the code. And this is the thing they are talking about, that to create any VPC, you have to mention the CIDR block. Okay. You have to mention some name. So exactly same thing if you'll see here, what are the things we written here? CIDR block and the name, right? These things only. Now the thing is, I did not hard coded the value. I can directly write the CIDR block like this also, whatever they're written in the documentation, 10.0.0.0/16. Okay. But rather than writing like this, what I said is, whatever the CIDR block you will do, you will read it from a variable called VPC underscore CIDR, VPC underscore CIDR, and from there they will read the value. So now the thing is, if tomorrow somebody want to make this to 10.11, so they will do the changes here only. They will not do the changes in this. Okay. Similarly, after creating the VPC, if you remember, we had to create an internet gateway, right? Once the internet gateway will be there, then only a broadband connection type of the things will come in the picture. Okay. And again, for internet gateway also, we don't have to worry about. Here you'll see they will have some codes for internet gateway, right? So here they are saying to get the internet gateway code, you have to write something called VPC ID, and then you have to give the name. So exactly same thing here we written VPC ID, okay, and then the name. And now the thing is, I don't know about the VPC ID, right? Because still now VPC ID not created. So I'm saying that you have to read the VPC ID from AWS underscore VPC dot main. And as soon as this will create a ID will be generated, so that ID will read and they will create an internet gateway with this name. Similarly, we have to create subnets. If you remember, after creating all these things, we were creating the subnets. So total, how many subnets we have to create? Two subnets, right? Subnet 1 and subnet 2. So rather than writing this code block two times, okay, what is the concept? Anybody remember the for loop? For loop in the Linux, do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
So in the for loop, what was happening? If I will say that for I in range from 0 to 2, so that will run two times, right? If I'll say that you have to start the counting from 1 to 5, then they will run it for 5 times, right?
Yeah.
So exactly same way here I am saying that till now I know that there is two subnet I have to create. Why? Because there is two IP range I given here between this range. Okay, /24/24. Maybe tomorrow somebody want to create three range, right? Three subnets, four subnet, five subnets. So in that case, what they will do? They will just do comma here and then they will give the double quote and they will give the range 10.0.3.0/24, 10.0.4.0/24, and they can replicate it AP South 1C, AP South 1A again, like that way they can do it. So I don't know sure about this, that every time there will be two subnet only be created. There can be n number of subnet can be created. It depends on the that particular time need. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that let's do one thing. What you have to do is, I know that you have to create the subnet. Okay, if you'll see the block here for creating the subnet, so they have clearly mentioned. Where is this one? So in the subnet, they are clearly mentioned, I require only two things. One is the VPC ID, one is the CIDR block, and I require the name. Only three things they require in the subnet. Okay. So exactly same three things only I given here. I given the VPC ID, I given the CIDR block, okay, and then we given the name. These things availability zone, it's our choice because here the availability zone they did not mention it, but if you'll see in the variable availability zone is optional. If you want to set that your subnet should be created in 1A only, that you can specify using the availability underscore zone. That's the thing we give it. And now, do you want to attach any public IP as soon as your EC2 instance will launch in this availability zone? For that, there is a variable called map public that also you can come down, you will find somewhere. There is something called map public IP on launch. It will specify if you will make it true, okay? By default, it is false value, but if you make it true, then what will happen is as soon as EC2 instance is launched in this particular subnet, automatically a public IP will be assigned to that particular EC2 instance. So that type of the things we done it. So once we done it, but now the thing is total how many subnets I want to create? Two. From where you are seeing this and you are calculating that there are two subnets can be created by seeing this count, right? Is this making sense? Total number of elements present inside this box that is in this list is 2. That's why you are saying that total number of subnet I want to create is 2, right? Tomorrow, if there will be 3 elements or 5 elements will be there, then you will say total number of subnet I want to create as 5, right? So that's why here I am saying is do one thing, okay, this count function, that let's calculate the length. Okay, you have to calculate the length of what? Variable. Which variable? Subnets underscore CIDR. Variable called subnets underscore CIDR. As soon as they will find the length of this subnet.CIDR, what value they will get? 2. That 2 will be stored in this count. Okay. Now, since the count is having the value 2, then the meaning is whatever the things you are seeing it from here to here after this count inside this block. Okay. This is going to run for how many times? 2 times.
Two
Okay.
times.
If count is equal to 3, this entire block is going to run for 3 times. So it is not I am hard coding the value. It's always going to calculate the length from here. So if you add some extra element here, they will automatically run it 3 times, 4 times like this. Okay. And now the thing is, they are going to run 2 times, 3 times, it doesn't matter. But VPC ID every time it is going to be same only, right? It doesn't matter like how many subnets you are going to create. All the subnet will be created inside the same VPC. So they will be always using the same variable AWS underscore VPC.main.id as here I done it. Similarly, this CIDR block, when the first time subnet will create, what will be the IP assigned to them? This one, right? And what will be the availability zone will be assigned to them? This one. Similarly, when second subnet will create, what will be the IP for them? This one. And what will be the availability zone will be this one, right? So how to read this? How to tell that first time you have to run, you have to use this IP and this availability zone. Second time use this IP, this availability zone. If third is there, then use this IP after this and then use this availability zone like that. So here I am writing that I know that you are asking me about the CIDR block. So to find the CIDR block, I am saying that there is an element function. Okay, what is the element function is basically do is you have to provide a list to them and you have to provide the index number. Okay, so if I am saying here, it is something like this. Take an example. If I'll do quickly an example here, what they are doing is Python online compiler. Oh, so quickly, let me just show you what this element function is doing. Terraform is written in Python programming language only, so they use the exactly same concept. Okay. So take an example. I am creating a variable with the name called fruit, and in which I am starting the list exactly same way. List whatever I am writing. There we are writing as IP range. Here I'm just writing some fruit name. Okay, something like this 3. Now you have to tell me if somebody is going to write like this, print fruit, what it will print. Anybody? What it can print?
It's
This
going to
fruit is
print all
variable,
the
right?
yeah, all the fruits, apples, grapes,
Yeah,
and
all the list. Basically, they are printing as it is all the list. Okay, but somebody is saying me, can you just print the kiwi? Right? They are saying just print the kiwi. That can be one case, right? And that is exactly our case. I want to get only one IP range from here, right? I don't want to print the entire thing. I want to just get this value. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So to do this, if I want to print the kiwi, so if I will start the counting, right? So in Python, counting it starts from 0. What is the number of kiwi?
3.
2. 2, na? 0, 1, 2.
Oh, 0, 0. Oh, okay. Yeah, 2.
So now if I'll write it here, 2. And if I'll run it, what it will print? It will just print kiwi. Make sense? If I want to just print
Yeah.
apple, what I will do? I will make it 0. If I'll press run, what will happen? It will print apple, right? So exactly same way, if I'm going to write subnet underscore CIDR, comma 0, then it will print this one. If I write subnet underscore CIDR, comma 1, then it will print this one. Make sense? Similarly, ability zone, comma 0, this will print this one, comma 1, it will print this one. So exactly same thing is written. Since you written the count is equal to 2, so the meaning is they will run this entire block 2 times. They will run entire blocks 2 times, okay? And they will start the counting from 0, then they will go to 1. If count is equal to 5, then they will start the counting like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they will reach up to 4, then it will become already 5 times. Make sense? So since you written count is equal to 2, so this is going to run 2 times, 0 and 1. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now the thing is, element is var.subnet.cIDR. I am saying that you have to take the entire variable value subnet underscore CIDR. So they will get the entire value here, this one. And in this, I am saying you have to find the element called count.index. What is the index of count the first time when they will run it? 0. So what is the value of 0 here? 10.0.1.0/24. So what will be value here stored is 10.0.1.0/24. Similarly, for availability zone, AP South 1A. And now the name. Now I'm giving is the first time when you'll be running this. What is the name of this subnet? You'll be giving the name as subnet dash. This will be exactly same. And what is the value of count.index? First time they are running, it will be 0, right? So 0 plus 1, 1. So what is the name of first subnet? Subnet 1. Again, this block will run second time. This time your count.index value will be 1. So what is the element at the 1 position? This one. So this time they will take this value. And the name of the subnet will be subnet hyphen count.index is 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. So it will be 2. Make sense?
Yeah. It's hard to understand, but it makes
No,
sense.
see, this is the entire logic. Commands, I said you can just copy paste it, right? It's the logic you have to understand here. That for loop concept here, basically. If count is equal to 2, they will run it 2 times. They will run it 3 times. After this, I will show you the easiest way. Okay, this is the harder way. I will show you the easiest way in which just you will be editing the variable.tf file. You don't have to write this code, everything also. It will be already edited. Okay, but just you have to see the logic, how the people are doing it. Okay. Similarly, after creating the subnet, if you remember, we had to change something in the route table. Okay, so for the route table also, you will see here the example will be somewhere. So in the route table, they are saying you have to provide me the VPC ID, right? You have to provide me the CIDR block, gateway ID, something like this, right? How to provide this URL, everything. So exactly same way I'm saying that you have to provide the VPC ID, and in the route they are asking for CIDR block. Which CIDR block? I am saying that if somebody want to go to the internet 0.0.0.0/0, if you remember in the last class, then you have to go through which way? Internet gateway way, right? So this type of the things we done in the last class also, that if somebody want to go to the internet, forward their traffic to the internet gateway using the router. Okay, so that is the route table they created, and this route table we have to associate to both the subnet 1 also and subnet 2 also. That's why again we are doing count is equal to 2, right? They will again calculate the length, so count will become 2. Again the exactly same way, this entire logic is going to run 2 times. First time they will associate it with the name called subnet 1 with the count.index 0, and then again they will associate with the subnet 2 with the count.index as 1, like this way. So this again the logic will run, and their work will be just to associate the route table to each subnet one by one. Once this file will be saved, there is one more extra file that is just for our reference purpose, to just understand how this element function is working. Okay, so this is not the important file, but this is just a file to show you actually how the element function is working, because just now I shown you the theoretical parts. But by running this code, you will be able to understand how this subnet function is working. So for that, I'm just creating a file called output.tf file. It will just print on the screen. That's it. It will not do any extra thing. That's it. So save this file. All the files are ready. Simply go to the terminal, click on new terminal. If I'll say here that cd VPC directory, and if I'll say Terraform init, so first thing what they will do, they will initialize this repo, basically the entire Terraform repository. And if you try to see this output block, whatever the example I shown you, okay, so what this should print, anybody? If you understand the logic, what it should print, this value. Anybody?
What value?
No, see, this is taking which variable? Subnet underscore CIDR, right?
Yeah.
Subnet underscore CIDR. Which index they will print? 0,
First
right?
one. Yeah.
So 0 is this one. So they should print this one, right? If this is printing this one, that means our entire logic was correct, right? Similarly, this one, CIDR block second, what it should print? First index. First index is which one? This one. So it should print this one. Make sense? So that's what we'll be trying to see. So first, let me do Terraform plan. So if planning will be done, if all the codes, everything will check, they will check that what are the things they are going to create, how it will work. Okay. And if they are creating two subnets, so this planning will say us that we are creating two subnets. But before that, let's focus on this output. What they are printing in the CIDR block first, 10.0.1.0/24. That means it's correct, right? Similarly, what is they are printing for second, 10.0.2.0/24. That means they are taking the value one by one. Make sense? Okay, so they are reading it. Now let's try to see the logic. Is they able to understand that this particular subnet they have to create two times, internet gateway they have to create only one time, this route association they have to do it two times? Are they able to understand these all things? So let's come to this logic and try to understand what are the things they are going to create. So they are clearly saying, I will create an internet gateway. Well and good. And we have to create only one internet gateway. So they're mentioning that. Route table we have to create that if somebody want to go to this particular internet, you will forward through the internet gateway ID, everything. So that also they are understanding. Well and good. Okay. Now let's come to the route table association. I know that they have to associate this route table two times because count function we used it. Okay. Now, since we are using it two times, so what they are saying here, are the route table association is written two times? Yes or no? Right? One is for 0th index, one is for one index. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the meaning is they are creating two times route table. One for 0th index, count.index will be 0 that time, and second time they will run is count.index as 1. That's why they are doing. Similarly, subnet it will create two times. That's what they are saying. First time I will create the subnet for subnet 0. And subnet 0th index when they will create it, so that time which availability zone they have to take? 1A, right? So they are clearly saying I will take the availability zone as 1A and ID I will take it as 10.0.1.0/24. That means they are working perfectly fine. Similarly, for subnet 2, they are clearly saying this time I will use AP South 1B. That also they are telling. And I will use with CIDR block 10.0.2.0/20. That means it is working perfectly fine. And they will create a VPC also in this way. Once everything is fine, we can simply say Terraform. Now let's apply this. Now it's the Terraform duty. And they know that first I have to create the VPC, then I will create this component like this. So we don't have to worry about. As soon as I will press yes, they will automatically start to create. So see, they are first creating the VPC. They created the internet gateway. They are creating two subnets, 0 and 1. They are creating the internet gateway. Now they are creating the route table. Then they will associate the route table. That's it. And see, they done it, everything in fraction of second. And if it is true that they done all these works, okay. So if I will come here and I will try to see the VPC part and refresh this, total how many VPC is there? So there will be two VPC. And the first VPC 10.0.0./16 got created. Similarly, I said two subnets should be created and subnet name will be subnet 1 and subnet 2, right? So they given two subnets, subnet 1, subnet 2. They created in the my VPC IP address 10.0.1.0, 10.0.2.0. Similarly, internet gateway, they also got created. Route table, also they created, they attached it to two subnets, and you can see the logic that you have to transfer the traffic to that 0.0. This thing I said it, that also they written it, right? So everything they created. If I want to delete this entire setup, everything, I can also delete it by simply writing the command here called Terraform destroy. Previously, we have to manually take care of destroying everything one by one. But now I will do the Terraform destroy. They will automatically understand that first I have to deassociate the route table, then I have to delete the route table, then I have to delete the subnet, right? So like this way, they will try to do it, everything. I'll just press yes. You see, first they will deassociate the route table, see, then they are deassociating subnet, and see all the VPC got deleted. And if that's true, so if I refresh this in the VPC section, so only one VPC is available. So once you know the logic, how to create manually here, then only you will understand how this entire logic is getting created. But by writing this code, right, tomorrow somebody is saying me that, okay, I want to create the VPC everything, variable everything, right? But what I want to do is our subnet VPC IP address should be 10.11.0.0/16 and subnet should be 10.11.1 and 11.2, right? That is the requirement they given. And availability zone, it should be 1B and it should be 1C, something like this. So they will just edit this variable file. They don't have to edit the entire code. Once edit this variable file, they will save this and they will simply say Terraform apply. Again, Terraform will understand that, okay, this time I have to create with this IP address range, everything. And after reading everything, you can simply press yes, and it is going to create everything. See, again, they are creating. And once the creation is done, so if I'll refresh this time they will create with some new IP addresses because I set them to create with the 10.11.0.0. This is a VPC. Similarly, subnet I set them to create with the name called. Let's refresh this. Okay, I think due to some network issue, this is the problem. Let me refresh this entire page. See 10.11.1.0.2.0. So whatever the changes you want to do, you have to just do in the variable.tf file. So understood why I retain separately variable.tf file? This thing. Also, if you want to create it in some different region like US region or something, you have to just change this name. That's it. Entire code will be same. You don't have to touch anything. Simply let me just destroy this. And after this, we are going to see the simplest way, okay, to create this, and then we'll complete this Terraform. Yes. Now in the Ansible, do you remember the concept of module, everybody? In the Ansible, we had the concept of module.
Yes, sir.
So what was the benefit of the module? Remember?
We can write the program, right? So,
see, module basically was the thing in which we don't have, even if I don't know the command, right? Still we can do the things, right? If I want to copy, I will just use the copy module. It's the duty of the copy module to copy the file, right? Similarly, if I want to create the user, any new user, so I have to just use the module called user. They will in the background create the user. We don't have to worry about it, right? So all the work was taken care by the Ansible. Like I was saying that you have to install the HTTPD package. So I was just saying that makes your HTTPD should be present, right? But it's the duty of what do you say? It's the duty of the Ansible to make sure that they should hit the yum install HTTPD or something like that because we are using the module called yum or package module. Remember? It's exactly the same way in the Terraform. Also, we have the module concept. Okay. So if you'll see here, like if you'll come in the and if I'll try to type here Terraform AWS modules. So in the Terraform also there are multiple modules are there for all the works for each cloud. So my goal is to create a VPC. Okay. And meanwhile, before doing that, let me just refresh this page and let me show you that there is no VPC is there currently. Nothing is there. Now my goal is to create a VPC. So one way is to write the entire logic, entire the code, everything manually, or I will see that, okay, total 52 modules are available in the AWS cloud. I don't want to create EKS S3 bucket or something. I want to create the VPC for now. Take an example. So I will just come on to this VPC part. I will click on this. In this, they are saying if somebody want to use the VPC, okay, then what you have to use is you have to copy this code. So before copying this code, what you have to do is come here, come to create a directory with the name called VPC module, something like this. Create a file. The first file again you have to create is the provider.tf file. This file you have to create anyway, right? Because to communicate with the AWS cloud. So again, I will just come here and I will copy this code provider.tf file. So now they will able to communicate. Then after this, you have to just create a single file with the name called main.tf. In this, you don't have to write the entire logic or something. Just come here, copy this entire module code, whatever they written here in this Terraform module of the VPC. Okay. Come here and just paste it in this code, save this file. That's it. Now it's your call what you want to do. I want to create the VPC, but take an example. I don't want to use this CIDR range. I want to give some different CIDR range. Okay. So I want to give it 10.12.0.0. Okay. And I don't want to create it in the availability zone called EU West, something like this. I want to create it in AP South 1A. So I will just mention it here. AP-South. So whatever the changes you want to do, just you have to do it. You don't have to worry about the code logic, anything here. AP-South. So it is just like editing the variable.tf file. That's it. 1B. And here I am saying, uh, and it's totally on you whether you want to write 3 availability zone, 4 availability zone. You can just write it. Just you can add comma like this, whatever I shown you, like that way you can do. And since here it is 10.12, so you know here also it will start with 10.12 only, because slash 24 meaning is last two value only can change. So 10.12. This is for private subnet, this is for public subnet. So basically there are two types of the subnets, okay, that also you can create. So like this way, I'm just writing 10.12. Private subnet means whatever the machine you will be creating inside this, they will be not able to reach to internet. Public subnet means whatever the EC2 instance will create in this, they will be able to reach to internet. That is the only difference. Okay. So all the databases type of the things we create in the private subnet, and while all the normal application, whatever we are doing till now, we always try to prefer it to the public subnet. NAT gateway, VPN gateway, let's forget about this. Currently, we don't want to require, so I will just delete that extra part. Okay. So now this entire logic, what they will do, they will create a VPC with the name called my VPC. Okay, with this particular CIDR block, and then they will create 3 subnets. Okay, with three private subnet they will create, and then they will create 3 public subnet. That's the goal. If I want to create only 2 private subnet, what I will do, I will just remove this particular thing from here like this. Okay, like this. So then they will create only 2 subnet. If I want to create 5 subnet, I will write 5 more range, like that way we can do. Okay, so let's do like this. We'll be creating 2 private subnet, 3 public subnet, and let's try to see whether it is working or not. Simply save this file. Once done, open the terminal, go inside the directory called cd vpc module, and first you have to write the command called terraform init. And see, currently we don't have any code or something. We did not written the logic of count, subnet, everything. But as soon as this will initialize, automatically they will download all the code, everything. Because there are some Terraform developer who already written this type of the code. So we don't have to worry about. But you'll see the logic will be somewhat similar to only whatever we try to write it. Okay. So let it download first, then I will show you what type of the code they use. It's little bit slow due to, I think, internet connectivity or something. I don't know what's happened to this. It got stuck or something. Let me just close this. Okay, this time it is done successfully. Okay. So in this .terraform directory inside the VPC module, I did not created any file or something. Okay. But inside this, automatically they created a file with the name called module inside the VPC. Inside that, these are all the codes, variable.tf file, everything, right? And in this main.tf file that was present inside this module, you'll see they use some logic exactly similar to ours only. Okay. What we done, we created a VPC, right? So see, they are creating some logic here to create the VPC here. They are providing the count, CIDR block, right? Similarly, if somebody want to create subnet, right? So let's see, route table, they are using the VPC ID count function to use it, right? Route table association, see this type of the logic, if you remember, we done it. So they will run it 2 times, right? Similarly, if we'll come down, you will see private subnet, everything, right? So in the subnet they have the count function, so that means this entire logic is going to run it 3 times, 2 times, like that way. So they also done it exactly same way only, but in the detailed way. Okay, so we don't have to worry about, whenever you are using the module, you don't have to worry about this code. Just you have to come here, and whatever the code you are taking it from here, that only just you have to change it. Okay, and whatever the references you can get it, you can just get it from downside by reading this page, what are the changes you can do. Okay, they will give you the entire details. So once we're done with this file, simply save this file. Okay, and then what you have to do is, after initializing, simply say terraform I want to plan. So again the process will same only. They will plan everything and they will tell you that we are going to create 2 private subnet and 3 public subnet, like this way. And similarly, they will do the route table association, everything. So see, they are saying here that we are creating subnet public 2, public 1, and public 0. That means 3 public subnet they are creating, and private 1, private 0. That means 2 private subnet they are creating. That means everything they are working well and good. Okay. So if I will say Terraform, can you apply this? And simply press yes. So they will automatically create. But the extra thing will be, this time they will be creating private also, public also, because they designed the code in this way. But whatever the code we design only for the public subnet. So see, these many things they created. If I'll come here and if I'll try to refresh this, so a VPC will be created, my VPC with the name called 10.12.0.0/16. If I'll see the subnet, so multiple subnet will be created here, right? Private subnet, public subnet, public subnet, public subnet, private subnet. So 3 public, 2 private they created. IP range also they given here, right? Similarly, they created a internet gateway, then they created the route table. So like this way, they created all the things, everything. Okay. So that's the thing about the module function. In the module, just you have to copy this entire code, whatever it is coming from this particular link. This link will directly refer to that particular module only, or I said you how to search it. Okay. And similarly, whenever you want to destroy, you can just destroy the command for Terraform destroy. So tomorrow, if somebody is saying you that can you create a S3 bucket using the Terraform, okay, so it is not like you will say that I did not got the knowledge of that, how to create the S3 bucket or something. If you know how to use the S3 bucket, you know, whenever we are creating the S3 bucket, we have to give some unique name, right? We have to enable the ACL to make that public everything, right? So once you know these all things, so you can simply come in the Google, you will do backspace here. When you will search for Terraform module here, we are getting the S3 here, right? I will just click on this, whatever the code they are saying it here, right? So by copying this code, we have to do some changes here only, right? So what they are saying in this source, so we don't have to do any changes bucket. So whatever the bucket name you want to keep it, you can just give it here ACL, whether you want to make your private or public, that you can just mention it. That's it. And just as soon as you will do the Terraform apply, automatically S3 bucket will be created. Either it is public or private with this particular bucket name, and make sure this bucket name will be unique. So like this way you can do the changes, you can read it, right, for any of the code. Even if you want to create the something like that, whatever we talked about, right? So we can come here, we can see or understand that what are the things they are creating it here. So you can always take the reference of the documentation. Nobody is going to teach you the entire 52 modules or 100 modules, something like that. Okay. But once you know how to find the answer, everything by coming to this documentation, how to copy it, what are the things we are doing, the changes, everything, right? So you can do it like, see, this is the auto scaling. So if you know the concept of auto scaling, so you will understand, okay, this is the minimum size and maximum size, whatever we are doing, desired capacity, right? Then we are mentioning some subnet name. So these all things just we have to do the changes and they will create it. Okay. So yeah, that's all for the Terraform side, everything. Okay. Anybody have any question?
Yeah, I need some practice also, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So that's all from my side. Okay. And we completed the entire syllabus, everything.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
for
Thanks
all
all
the
of you
classes.
for cooperating everything.
Mhm.
Have a nice career ahead. Okay.
Thank,
Best of luck.
yeah, thank
Thanks
you,
all of
sir.
you.